What's up guys, Jake here, and today I'm bringing you guys another Overwatch video, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Winston and his new PTR changes. Now a lot of people haven't really been talking about this one quite as much as they were when they were announcing they were going to nerf Ana. Now I believe they reverted some of those nerfs, but people were freaking out about that, but I hadn't heard a whole lot of talk about Winston. Because Winston is sort of a niche character right now. It's very good. You can really just decimate teams that aren't really well coordinated. But in higher levels of play, if you're more coordinated, it's not quite as good. But it's still a really fun hero to play. I know it's kind of a meme because you don't actually aim with this gun, you just hold the trigger down. But it's a very fun hero to play. And we'll definitely be seeing a lot more of Winston due to his changes. For those of you who are unaware, they adjusted his barrier, so the shield barrier cooldown time actually begins when you place the shield barrier rather than when the barrier ends. So before it was a 13-second cooldown every single time, but now you'll actually be able to take a maximum of 5 seconds off the barrier time because that's how long it can potentially last. Now if they target the barrier or if they have the other team has a bastion, it'll obviously not last quite as long as that, but it's a pretty significant change. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this affects the meta. Obviously, more people will likely play Winston, and Winston's very good against sort of these evasive targets, such as maybe like Tracer, or even it's pretty good against Pharah as well. You can sort of jump up, deal some damage to Pharah, and if you don't finish her off, then somebody else on your team can as well. And it's also good against some other tanks as well as Genji because his Tesla cannon actually goes through barriers, as well as it doesn't get reflected by Genji's reflecting ability. So it's going to be interesting to see how people react to this and how the meta changes. And I've also sort of been thinking if we're heading towards a shield meta where people are just running lots of characters with shields, because obviously Reinhardt is the main shield character people use. It's very, very good. D.va is also quite good as well. With Winston being able to use more shields, he'll definitely be played more. And we also have Orisa coming out who has a shield and can also deflect some damage as well. So we have a lot of viable shielding characters, as well as a lot of maps where there are a lot of really small choke points where having shields is extremely beneficial. So these things kind of make me think that we're going to potentially be seeing a shield meta, and I've been thinking about some of the possible implications of this. I think a couple characters that will definitely see a spike in play when Winston is buffed will be Bastion, because Bastion is obviously very good at busting through tanks. He always has been, and now that he has a lot more survivability, it's just really pretty common sense to see that he might see a lot more play if there is an increase in players using shielding characters. And the other character I had in mind was Sombra. Now Sombra right now is a little bit of a niche character, however when she is played correctly she can be very devastating to the other team. If you can EMP a lot of their heroes, you can really take a point or move a payload very, very quickly, especially being that EMP takes out all the shields that are up, as well as it's very easy to charge. You know, all you have to do is hack some health packs and have your teammates take them, and you can charge up your ult very quickly. So Sombra could definitely see a lot more play, especially because the main counter to a lot of these shielding teams, I guess, would be a dive comp. Now a dive comp is generally kind of the opposite of what we normally see, with a lot of DPS characters standing behind, you know, Reinhardt shield. Like we see often they ironically feature a Winston as the main tank, and they just generally use a lot more mobile characters and just kind of fly in and do a lot of DPS. So generally you would see something like a Winston, maybe a Tracer or Reaper or Genji, as well as a Lucio with speed boost. So it'll be interesting to see if more people start to play dive comps, because right now I don't think they're that particularly popular. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see if more people pick that up. And that's one thing I like about the changes that the devs make in Overwatch. Now, they're not always correct in the way they implement the changes, and usually I think they go back and get them right. Like Bastion's Ironclad at 35% was obviously way too much, so they did bring that down. Now it's a lot more bearable. But I like that changing one or two characters can really shake up the meta. I think it makes the game seem more fresh when there's always constantly, you know, new strategies and new metas in play. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. If you guys have any thoughts on Winston or any of the other characters that are seeing nerfs or buffs, let me know, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.